Welcome to the Hardware Asylum Podcast Extra
Extra.
Social Distancing Volume 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna distance myself from Darren all the way over here.
So distant. This is our second attempt at recording an extra using this incredible video structure. So we hope you like it. And if you haven't already checked out our main show, we went into some really great depth on the Z490 motherboards and the new 10th generation Intel processors. So go check that out. You can pause. We'll wait. Okay, hopefully you did that. And I thought in the extra this month we would talk about some other hardware that is maybe not quite as cutting edge. And I noticed from the notes, Dennis, that you wanted to talk about the latest Creative Sound Blaster AE9 Ultimate Sound Card, except for it's something we've already looked at, Dennis.
Yeah, you're correct. We talked about this particular sound card and this sound card. Oh, sorry, it's backwards.
Backwards. No, that didn't help. Yeah.
We talked about that in episode 108 of the Hardware Asylum podcast. So I would say,
Wait. Now they have to go back and do that one, and
yeah,
we'll pause and wait again. Check it out after you're done.
something like that. So I finally got around to posting the review for this particular sound card. And truth be told, I've done this review twice now. Well, almost 3 times. So I did the review right after we talked about it on the podcast, and I was not happy with the results at all. I was like, this is a crappy sound card. I don't get it.
No, because isn't the AE9 the apex, to go back to our Asus discussion in the main, the apex of the creative Sound Blaster world right now?
It is. This is the highest end sound card that you can possibly get from Creative. Now, the AE7, which I have here, looks a lot like this one in terms of the audio module. But
it does.
It comes with this old school audio dial thing with a microphone, and it's got headphone.
That looks like the controllers that used to come with the Creative Labs speakers.
Yeah, it's the same style. It might even be the same thing. I don't really know.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have the AE5, which you have in your machine and I have in mine, which is it's an awesome sound card.
Love it.
Yeah, and it has RGB, so you can run lights off of it and whatnot.
And it comes in white too, pretty.
Yeah, but this AE9, it's the apex. It's the highest end sound card. It's got replaceable op amps, which is something that you saw in the X7 that Darren has to his right. Over there. Yeah, he's pointing right at it because he uses it all the time. And it has RCA jacks here. You know, you don't see sound cards with RCA jacks because RCA is for what?
Home audio stuff.
High-end home audio.
Or I guess home theater. But yeah, with just two, you're looking at home audio enthusiast level grade stuff, or at least controlling individual components usually.
Yeah, left channel, right channel. Line level is kind of what we would normally say in the car audio world.
There you go.
And then over here is your surround and subwoofer jacks. And then down here we have input and output for optical. And we talked about it.
Very unusual. Ooh.
Yeah, and we talked about this in that podcast episode, just kind of a rehash. Now the other part is it comes with this guy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
This is the breakout panel, volume knob, and at the top up here is an LED display that has the volume and lets you know if you are in speaker mode or headphone mode.
Just in case you can't tell.
Yeah, basically. Over here, XLR for professional microphone, and it also has the 3-pin and the big 1/4-inch jack where you can plug that in. And then there's 3 other outputs down here. I forget which one's which. Microphone, gaming headset, high-end headphone. And high-end headphone 1/4-inch jack, basically.
Woohoo!
And then you have the Sound Blaster button. You have fan and power for this particular microphone jack. And right here, a selector switch. 3 positions for controlling, dun dun dun, right?
Bring it. Dun, dun, dun.
See, he didn't do this.
I'm
That's the.
trying to look. It's so little on my screen. It's little. There you go.
Oh, actually, you know what? Hey, there, look at that.
There we go.
See, we should have
And,
changed back.
and of course, you can always check out the article, which we link to for even more pictures and breakouts.
Right. The selector switch is the impedance for your headphones. So it will control all the way up to or support 600 ohm. So you can have your professional headphones. Now, it connects via this little digital connection, looks like an HDMI, to the sound card right there.
Beautiful.
Now, I'm going to go back to the article here. When I test sound cards, and we've done this for every sound card that we've ever tested on Hardware Sound and Ninja Lane, we do a loop back test.
Yes.
And a loop back test is basically we connect the output of the card to the input of the card and run some software called Rightmark Audio Analyzer. And what that does is it does a sound test and records the results and determines the sound quality that it recorded. On motherboards, and I test this on motherboards, the way to get the best quality sound is to make sure that you are outputting a speaker output into a line input. It needs to be line level. And line level is basically it's low voltage. Higher quality is halfway to digital, and it's in car audio world, that was how you got your amplifier signal from your head unit to your amplifiers.
You're almost completely unprocessed if you're lucky.
Right. Now, on the AE9, there isn't any line levels anywhere. We have RCA jacks, and it comes with this handy dandy little adapter to plug in here and convert those into a single 3.5 millimeter jack, so you plug them into your desktop speakers.
Sure.
Now, in the software, you can set this to a direct output, so it's unprocessed, which is the best way to test.
Very nice.
But there's no microphone input on this card. The microphone input is on this device. And so the first time that I tested this, I hooked my loop cable up, and these are the stats that I got.
Average.
Stereo.
Very poor. What?
Stereo crosstalk is very poor. Everything's good and average and gross. And then here's some of the charts that get kicked out. The noise level is kind of really bad.
Ew.
Dynamic range is really bad. So I was concerned, and this happened the first time I tested it as well. So the second time, I was like, well, I'm just going to post a review. I focused more on the breakout panel because this is really what makes this card cool. I mean, you press this button, it switches between headphone and speakers. It's pretty awesome. I did a sound test for on the podcast. I did a sound test using the podcast hardware and recorded a video. That's on that article that I was just linking to over here.
It's also available on our YouTube channel if you really want to check it out.
Oh yeah, subscribe, like, share, obey, whatever. So anyhow, I reached out to Creative saying, hey, so this is not right. What did I do wrong? And so a couple days later, I get a reply back, and they told me that chances are he was hooked using this adapter. I'm going to switch back to this. Using this adapter and plugging into a microphone connection. And I'm like, well, that's exactly what I was doing.
Right.
Well, it turns out that all of these outputs here have a common ground. So as with most 12 volt devices, there's a ground that, power that goes through one end of it, and then it always comes back to the same spot, which is why you can test voltage here, you can test voltage there. It doesn't matter because the ground is in the same location.
Right.
But in the sound world, having a common ground means that you get a ground loop.
Yay! Which is one of the most common amateur failures when you're setting up home audio systems.
Yes. Not paying attention to your grounds. So ultimately, what had to happen was you set direct mode to the RCAs and you hook an RCA cable in here and plug it in there.
Oh, okay.
So this is the auxiliary input or the line level input into the breakout box. And then all of a sudden I was able to get that.
Ah, that's a huge difference. Wow.
So ultimately, I mean, this sound card, it tests extremely well if you test it correctly.
Right?
And if you use it, I used it with these headphones, I used it with my H5s, I used it with desktop speakers. Imaging, awesome, on point, the way that it should be. If you have desktop speakers, it only supports 5.1, but if you have speaker or stereo headphones, 7.1. And of course it's virtualized and everything, but the imaging is awesome. It's spot on. The volume controls, these headphones are really more sensitive than the H5, so I have to adjust the volume accordingly, but they both work. And basically this was me saying, hey, I'm an idiot because I know all this stuff, but then I couldn't figure out how to hook it up because the way that the user interface was. Why would you use the RCAs on the back? So there you have it. How to test a sound card properly.
I see that, and I have to say these are some of the best right mark scores that I've ever seen, and I would have been, I think, really shocked to have seen the other ones published because, yeah, Creative's usually very on point with their products.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I've had a couple of motherboards that have tested excellent all the way across the board, and it still was at a very good, I think, at the bottom. But those, amazing sound cards and the way that they get put together matched with proper software is really where the sound quality, you have the software that can use the hardware properly. And when those two things are together, you have some amazing results.
There you have it. What was the price point on this beast? Because I'm kind of impressed.
This guy, we could look it up to see the accurate prices, but I think this is like 350, 370, something like that.
Yes, it's a true audiophile enthusiast price point, which is not a surprise there. But
No.
if you want the best of the creative Sound Blaster world, you're going to pay a premium for it. But you are getting, I think, a premium product.
Yeah, I mean, you have the replaceable op amps for the audiophile in all of us. This is really the most powerful feature of it. And it's perfect for somebody like me that is going to be doing voiceovers on video. I can plug in my XLR microphone right here. I can plug in my good headphones here. And if I had 600 ohmers, I go and do that, already hooked up. And then if I get ready to game, click this, it goes to my desktop speakers. I can still use the microphone input. I can run my XLR that way. All it does is changes the input here. It's pretty darn convenient and awesome. It's the perfect combo.
Very nice. And a great looking product too. I'm a little jealous, I gotta say.
Oh, well, you can't have it. It's like the lightning card. Oh, wait a minute. That one disappeared. Where did that go?
I got nothing.
All right, so what's next on the list?
Well, I know that you had some other projects that you were trying to tackle during your social isolation. So I thought maybe we'd talk about what we've been doing to keep busy there at the lab and here at the virtual lab annex during our isolation. This is the extra, so we can have a little bit of fun and just kind of talk about what's keeping us busy. Oh, it's like a Slinky, only it's not. What do you got there?
These are extension cables from Silverstone. This is the PP07E or Evolution. They are super, super flexible.
I see that. Is that a built-in comb I see also?
Well, no, the comb is extra. You can actually,
Oh,
I've already installed the comb, but each one of the cable extensions comes with 4 combs.
nice.
That's 2 of them that's in a bag. But you have 24 pin, you have 8 pin, and then you have 6 plus 2 pin.
So is this separate individual pieces, or is this a kit that you'd purchase?
They're individuals. So if you want a 24 pin and 2 CPU pins and 4 VGA pins, you have to buy them individually. But they're less than $10 each. They're
Oh,
actually
wow.
pretty well. I think these ones are brand new, so they might be a little bit more. But the other ones were less than $10. They non-evolution.
So
So
if I were watching this at home and had no idea why I would want an extension, what are these things designed for?
I'll show you. One moment. I got everything around here.
Everything. Oh my gosh.
So this is power supply. It's Thermaltake, right? Here's the main power cable.
Very sexy.
Super. It's got some sleeving on here, a little bit of shrink tube, and a zip tie right there.
Guaranteed to come in your favorite color to match your case theme.
And look at that rainbow there. So
pick your favorite color.
So when this plugs into your motherboard, everybody that walks by, because you now have the tempered glass side panels and all sorts of lights everywhere, RGB on top of RGB, everyone sees that.
Yay!
And this. So what you do is you plug this into this, like this. And now, this is what they see on your motherboard. And look at that. It bends over nicely. It can actually be routed behind the motherboard correctly.
And you can hide the rest of that beautiful factory cabling.
Yeah, you'll never
ever see it.
You'll never see it. Yeah. And it also has these little convenient tabs here. So if you are a modder, you could click these into the back panel of your motherboard tray and then plug them in this way. And then all you have to do is plug your main power into the back of the motherboard tray into the extension. So the front part of your case is just using these cables. Everything else is wired behind. You'll never see it.
Very clean. I like it.
Yeah. Now, of course, extensions are not new. And, we did a video on some installing some cable mod cables into your rig. And they're basically using the same cable. This is an 18 gauge, oxygen-free, solid copper, braided. It doesn't have any heat shrink on it, so it's actually bonded to the insulation. So the cable is super high quality cable, super flexible, and it's the same gauge as every power supply out there. It's just that, like this, I can't hardly bend that. It's really super stiff. This, not so much. Makes dressing up your PC a lot easier.
Very nice. I have an irrational desire to get some, even if I don't need them, because they look so good. Now, those are black and white, but I'm assuming that you can get a whole gambit of different color schemes.
Not yet.
Oh.
So we have black and white, and they have black available in the new Evolution line. But the original cables, which are 16 gauge, they're a little bit thicker, which means they aren't as flexible. You can get those in a variety of different colors, and I suspect what will happen is that we will get these cables in the same color pattern, and the others will just get phased out.
That makes sense. Or, because they're white, you'll pick up the lighting that you've already got in your case, which might be pretty cool too. You don't have already a build with white in it.
Oh, this is something they also send me. Check that out. It's a fan. But this fan is pretty cool, and that is the Air Penetrator edition in a quality frame. Look at that. It doesn't twist or nothing. I mean, if you take, here's a Noctua fan, 120 millimeters side by side. Look at that. Quality frame, quality frame.
More blades?
Yeah.
Well, more construction.
Yeah.
All this is programmable LEDs, right?
Right. Although, I mean, I kind of knocked SilverStone a little bit over the past couple of generations because all of their fans had these really weak frames. Like you could squeeze it this way and squish the frame into the fan blades and almost break it because they weren't strong. This is super strong. This is like Air Penetrator Industrial Edition.
So now I know that they make different styles and lines. The Air Penetrator specifically, what is it designed for?
Okay, so the fins on the back help direct the air. So on a normal fan, not this one or this one. See, I got everything everywhere. This one.
It's good that you can't see the rest of the room because I feel like you're sitting on a mound of hardware.
Maybe. Okay, so this fan, this is a Thermaltake cheapy fan. So when the air exits this fan, as it's coming off of these fan blades, which you can't really see, but we've all seen a fan blade. You know how they're curved?
Right?
The air that's coming off that blade exits the rear part of the fan at the same angle. So we have air coming out basically like this. And that's,
okay.
It leaves a huge dead area here around where the motor is. And that's why I've always said that when you have fans hooked up to a radiator, have it pull the air through the radiator because then it's going to hit more of the fans, where instead of concentrating the airflow to the outer edge of where the fan is. It also helps you clean your radiator because you can see when the dirt's in there. Now, with the air penetrator, these vanes, these fins right here, now have the air exiting like this, straight. So it helps you direct the airflow where you want it to be. It's also, it keeps the noise down a little bit. Not by much, but it helps, yeah. It's a more improved fan.
So for cases, for heat sinks, for everything that doesn't require lighting, very nice.
Yeah.
Well, some design changes there. I know it's hard to get excited about fans, but you know, really, a good fan doesn't cost that much more than a cheap fan. So it's one of those things that I'm always surprised that case modders, especially the performance-minded ones, get some pretty chintzy fans.
They blow me away.
I know we've recommended SilverStone and Noctua and Be Quiet fans for a lot of years, and they tend to be some of the big innovators out there.
Well, that's why we recommend them.
Indeed.
All right, so that's all I got. I think you had something cool though.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, we've talked a bit about stuff that is going on. We haven't talked a lot about 3D printing lately. So this is my project. So I have a 3D printer, which we've talked about before, that we are working on some mods for. It is a CR10S from looking at it right here. It's yeah, let's see. Anyway, it's not very pretty for me to show you, so I will not do that. But we'll find a link for you in the thing. And actually, you can go back and view some of our articles on it. I wish I could remember the episode, but we'll find it. But one of our goals was to upgrade the fans on mine, too. So let me give you an idea of some of the stuff that we're getting ready to do. So we have these, and they'll be maybe difficult to see because of the glare here, but these are soft motor mounts that we're going to be installing on the fan and the motor itself to reduce some of the vibration from the X and Y axis motors. And that's coming up. We'll be installing some new fans. So I've got fan bridges here, and I thought I had the fans handy, Dennis. And oh, I'm standing up. Standing up.
Oh, where'd he go?
It's over here.
Darren!
Oh, no.
You left. You left. I can't see you anymore.
No, it's here. I promise it's here. All right. So yeah, I wasn't prepared for that question, apparently, but I have some Noctua fans, which we just showed, only much smaller as I'm knocking stuff off of my shelf. I am sitting on apparently a mound of other stuff. But anyway, so we're getting ready to update the 3D printer, and I thought it would be fun to find a new project. So as many of our regular listeners know, I'm a Porsche fan. And this was shared with me by one of the folks out in the community that knows I'm a Porsche fan and a 3D printer. Sent me this link to this. This is out on Thingiverse.com, which is one of the better sites for finding STL projects. So I'm going to be printing this up, maybe by the time that we get our next podcast together. So we'll be throwing some of those mods on if we get a chance here together. Social distancing may make that a little difficult. And then I'll be printing one of these puppies up here. Now you can see from there the size of it. This is a little bit deceiving because it's a desktop uh, print there.
It looks
So
so big here.
it really does, and I know you can make it bigger. And of course, the internal workings have to fit. So you just have to make sure that centered hole diagram is the correct size. So I'm planning on doing that with the red brake calipers, which match my car, and then the gray for the disc brakes here. So this is just giving you an idea. So we've talked about 3D printing before, but I don't know that we've talked a lot about this portion of the show, which is going out there now. A lot of folks like to design their own STLs, and you can actually buy some pretty good 3D scanners now. But I am more of a doer than a creator, as Dennis will tell you. He's the creative mind behind most of the design work here at this site. So I like to find these designs that are out there and drop these down and print them myself. So this one will be one of the more complicated because it's a multi-layer print here. So I'll be doing some black, some gray, some red, and a little bit of painting. And with a little luck, have a fun little 3D printed desk clock by the time I return back to work. And if it goes well, I may print a bigger one for the garage just for fun.
Yeah. Well, if you make it, if you scale it up to where it's bigger than your print table, it might be in multiple pieces. We'll have to glue it.
Well, the plus side is that when you purchase a 3D printer, Dennis, you should pay attention to the size. So I have a relatively large one that will print nearly 12 by 12 by 20 items. So that's plenty big for a clock.
That's true.
But of course, like all projects, we'll build a small one first and make sure that we can get it working and then scale it up accordingly. So if you haven't looked into 3D printing lately, and I'm just going to kind of high level this for you, 3D printers have come down dramatically in price, and so have the materials. So looking at that particular product there, I am buying a spool of gray. I already have a spool of red, but you could print this entire thing single color and paint it. And a spool cost of quality STL, or in this case, the STL is the pattern rather, the quality material. Oh, I'm drawing a blank, Dennis. It's not PETG. It's not acrylic. It's
PET.
PET. Thank you.
PET.
So we'll be ABS.
ABS.
We'll be doing this out of ABS.
Oh, and, you've never printed ABS.
Yeah. So as I say, we got to do some calibration, and then the clock internals for this cost about $8 off of Amazon. So a relatively cheap product. We'll be able to put that together all totaled for, I'm guessing, a little under $30.
Oh, is it be an expensive clock?
Not too bad for something fancy and custom. So anyway, I will get back to you on that and let you know if we get a chance to get those mods done to the printer here. Hopefully, as we come out of this social isolation, I'll give us a chance to do those products, and we'll get some pictures and video of that together. So that's my up-and-coming project that I've been prepping for at home.
Awesome. I can't wait. Well, I could.
You know,
but
it is really exciting. I think if 3D printing is finally becoming affordable enough that at least from an enthusiast standpoint, you can get into a really good printer for under $500. And a lot of them now are good enough that you don't need to be a real expert on things like calibration and upgrades and customization to be able to print right out of the box. So,
oh yeah, well, it's just like drones, right? Because you can. Remember, you'd have to buy one of those little, or you wouldn't have to, but you buy one of those little helicopters that's remote control and stuff.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't ever be able to get it to fly because either the battery would run out before you figured out how to fly it, or you would crash it almost immediately. Well, now you can get drones that you go and plug in and then just throw them in the air.
Yeah.
Throw them in the air, and they'll take your picture. Yeah, take your picture and follow you around because the technology has gotten so much better. And we've had experts that have figured out how to fly those little helicopters that know what needs to go into the other ones that are for the next generation. So it's getting better. And
absolutely. I think my 3D printer now is more than 2 generations old, and it's only been what, a couple of years.
Yeah, but people
If
still
that.
use those, and that's the thing, because you bought one of the Pro Edition ones that will do a lot of really cool stuff once you figure out how to do it.
And it has all kinds of add-ons that you can buy for it. I mean, laser engraving, multiple inputs and outputs, lots of different materials. It'll even print carbon fiber. And mine is, of course, very, very modifiable. In fact, I have a very good friend of mine who bought the same printer I have and then used it to print the parts for a more advanced printer. So that's kind of the world that we're living in 3D printing. So
Well,
anyway,
he 3D printed his Iron Man suit too, right?
oh my gosh, yeah, a full-size Iron Man suit. And I don't even know how long that took him,
No.
the better part of a year. But there are some impressive things out there. So I hope to get some more 3D printing articles coming up over the 2020 year and going into the fall season here. So with a little luck, there'll be more on those projects as well.
I'm going to hold you to that. Oh, look at that. I'm pointing at the camera. Haha.
That's right. And of course, modifying the printer every time you do a modification requires a recalibration. So it's still a little bit technical if you're doing that type of work. So definitely keep that in mind if you're buying the lower end one with the intention of modifying it. It reminds me of the early days of computer mods, where really you had to have a little bit extra knowledge. Where now there's so much plug and play.
Yeah, like these.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
3D printing is headed there now. If you have the money, you can buy printers that require almost no maintenance, of course, for thousands of dollars. Or you can do like I do and buy a relatively lower end one with the potential for those upgrades. So more to come on that.
yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us for this Hardware Asylum Podcast Extra Video Edition.
Video extra 2. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.